You know what terrifies the system more than anything else? It's not the revolutionary with a megaphone. It's not the protester with a sign. It's you, the moment you stop caring about money the way they need you to. Before we dive deep into why the man who doesn't chase money represents society's greatest threat, if you're finding value in this perspective, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe because we're about to challenge everything you've been conditioned to believe about success, power, and freedom. The invisible prison. You wake up. You check your bank account. You calculate how many days until payday. You feel that familiar knot in your stomach. This is your morning ritual, isn't it? But here's what you need to understand: you're not managing your finances. You're feeding an addiction that was carefully installed in you before you could even walk. From the moment you could comprehend language, you were being programmed. Every cartoon showed the successful character with piles of gold. Every family gathering revolved around who bought the bigger house, the newer car, the more expensive vacation. Every milestone in your education was framed as a stepping stone toward a higher salary. You weren't learning. You were being domesticated. And it worked brilliantly. Right now, as you read this, there's a voice in your head calculating your net worth, comparing yourself to others, measuring your life in numbers on a screen. That voice isn't yours. It's theirs. The man who doesn't chase money has done something extraordinary. He's unplugged from this matrix. He's looked at the invisible prison and simply walked through the bars that were never actually solid. And the system, this beautiful, terrible machine we call modern society, it's absolutely terrified of him. The economics of control. Let me show you how the game actually works. Your entire society is built on a simple premise: you must need more than you have. This gap between what you possess and what you desire is the engine that drives everything. It gets you out of bed at 6 a.m. It keeps you at jobs you hate. It makes you tolerable when your boss treats you like a commodity. It makes you swallow your dignity, compromise your values, and sacrifice your time, the only truly finite resource you possess. The system needs you desperate. Not starving, that would make you dangerous. But desperate enough to comply, anxious enough to conform, hungry enough to hustle on their terms. Every advertisement you see is a psychological operation designed to create dissatisfaction with what you already have. Every social media feed is engineered to make you feel inadequate. Every success story you hear is carefully curated to make you believe that wealth equals worth. But the man who doesn't chase money, he's broken the fundamental equation. He's discovered that his needs are actually quite modest. That happiness doesn't scale with income. That freedom isn't something you buy after you've accumulated enough, it's something you claim by refusing to participate in the auction of your soul. And when you break this equation, you become ungovernable. The threat of independence. You want to know what keeps the powerful awake at night? It's not competition. They can handle competition. It's not regulation. They can capture regulators. It's the man who simply doesn't want what they're selling. When you don't chase money, you become immune to their primary mechanisms of control. They can't threaten your job because you're not building your identity around your career. They can't manipulate you with status symbols because you've stopped measuring yourself against others. They can't buy your silence because you were never for sale in the first place. You become a virus in their system, an example of a different way of being that might spread to others. Think about the narratives you've been fed your entire life. Work hard and you'll be rewarded. Climb the ladder. Secure your future. Every single one of these ideas serves the same purpose: to keep you in the hamster wheel, running faster and faster, convinced that the cheese is just one more rotation away. The man who doesn't chase money has stepped off the wheel. He's standing outside the cage, watching everyone else run, and asking a simple question: what if the cheese isn't even real? This is dangerous. Because questions are contagious. Time as the ultimate currency. Here's what they don't want you to realize: money is just a tool for acquiring time. But you've been so conditioned to chase money that you've forgotten to ask yourself what you're actually trading for it. You're trading your life. Every hour you spend in a job you hate, you're converting your existence into currency. And for what? To buy things that might give you a few moments of pleasure before the void of wanting opens up again. To save for retirement, as if life only begins when you're too old to fully live it. The man who doesn't chase money has done the math differently. He's realized that minimizing his financial needs gives him something far more valuable than any paycheck: sovereignty over his time. While you're spending 40, 50, 60 hours a week building someone else's dream, he's spending his hours on what actually matters to him. He's not wealthy by conventional standards, but he's rich in the only currency that can't be inflated: the hours of his one irreplaceable life. This terrifies the system because time is the one resource they need from you that can't be automated or outsourced. Your productivity, your labor, your attention, all of it requires your time. And if you refuse to trade your time on their terms, their entire empire starts to crumble. The freedom to say no. The most dangerous word in any language is no. And the man who doesn't chase money has unlimited access to it. You want to know why you feel powerless? Count how many times today you've done something you didn't want to do because you needed the money. Count how many times you've bitten your tongue, tolerated disrespect, compromised your values, betrayed your instincts, all because you couldn't afford to say no. Your financial dependency is your collar. And everyone can see you wearing it. But the man who's minimized his financial needs has maximized his ability to refuse. He can walk away from toxic relationships because he's not financially entangled. He can leave exploitative jobs because he's not shackled by lifestyle inflation. He can speak truth to power because they can't threaten his livelihood. This is the real revolution, not fighting the system but becoming so minimally dependent on it that its threats become irrelevant. Every tyrant in history has understood this principle: control people's survival, and you control their behavior. Keep them worried about their next meal, their next rent payment, their children's future, and they'll do almost anything. They'll tolerate the intolerable. They'll enforce rules they don't believe in. They'll become the very instruments of their own oppression. The man who doesn't chase money has broken this chain. He's looked at the entire apparatus of control and found its Achilles heel: it only works if you need what they're offering. The psychological warfare. Let's talk about what happens when you stop chasing money. Because the system's response is immediate and brutal, but it's not what you think. They don't fight you with force. They fight you with psychology. Suddenly, everyone around you becomes concerned. Your family worries about your potential. Your friends question your ambition. Strangers assume you're lazy, irresponsible, or haven't figured out how the world really works. This is social pressure as a weapon. Because the man who doesn't chase money isn't just threatening the system, he's threatening everyone who's still invested in it. Your freedom is a mirror that reflects their cage. Your contentment with less makes their endless striving seem hollow. Your peace makes their anxiety feel unnecessary. You become living proof that the rules they've organized their entire lives around are optional. And people hate that. They'll call you a dropout, a dreamer, a fool. They'll predict your failure with the certainty of profits. They'll wait eagerly for the moment when you come to your senses and rejoin the race. But here's the secret: their certainty reveals their fear. If they truly believed their path was superior, your choice wouldn't threaten them. The volume of their criticism is directly proportional to the doubt you've activated in their own minds. Redefining success. You've been taught to measure success in increments of currency. Net worth. Salary. Property value. Portfolio performance. These numbers have become the scorecard of your existence, the proof that your life means something. But the man who doesn't chase money has changed the game entirely. He's measuring success by completely different metrics. How much time does he control? How often does he feel genuine peace? How deep are his relationships? How aligned is his daily life with his actual values? How many moments of beauty has he experienced this week? Try putting those on a resume. Try impressing people at a party with your capacity for contentment. Try posting your Instagram stories about the profound satisfaction of needing less. You can't. Because the system has no way to monetize peace. It can't commodify contentment. It can't sell you the solution to a problem you don't have. And that's exactly why the man who doesn't chase money is such a threat. He's succeeding according to criteria that the system can't measure, manipulate, or control. He's won a game they didn't even know existed because he stopped playing theirs. The ripple effect. Here's what happens when one person stops chasing money: nothing much. The system absorbs the loss. Life goes on. But here's what happens when 10 people stop. When 100 people stop. When entire communities start organizing around different values. The system starts to crack. Because the entire apparatus depends on your participation. Every marketing campaign assumes you want more. Every business model assumes you'll trade your time for money. Every political platform assumes you can be bought with promises of prosperity. But what happens when you can't be bought? When prosperity means something different to you? When you've discovered that your wants are actually manufactured and your needs are surprisingly minimal? You become a node of resistance. And resistance, when it reaches critical mass, becomes revolution. The man who doesn't chase money isn't just saving himself. He's creating a template. He's proof of concept. He's the crack in the dam that reminds everyone else that the flood is possible. The path forward. So what does this mean for you, right now, today? You don't have to quit your job tomorrow. You don't have to move to a cabin in the woods. You don't have to take a vow of poverty. But you do need to start asking different questions. What do you actually need versus what have you been conditioned to want? How much of your time are you trading for things that don't genuinely improve your life? What would change if you optimized for freedom instead of income? Start small. Identify one expense that's more about status than satisfaction. Cut it. Feel the relief of needing less. Notice how that small act of financial rebellion creates a tiny pocket of freedom. Then do it again. Each time you reduce your dependence on money, you increase your sovereignty. Each time you choose enough over more, you reclaim a piece of your power. Each time you refuse to measure your worth in currency, you weaken the system's grip on your psychology. The man who doesn't chase money isn't superhuman. He's simply someone who decided that his life belongs to him, not to the highest bidder. The ultimate rebellion. You live in a world that has monetized everything. Your attention is a commodity. Your data is sold. Your time is auctioned. Your dreams are market-tested. Your insecurities are profitable. The system needs you to believe that money is the solution to problems it created in the first place. It needs you anxious, wanting, always just one purchase away from satisfaction that never quite comes. The man who doesn't chase money has seen through this illusion. He's recognized that the game is rigged, and the only winning move is not to play, at least not by their rules. He's still in the world. He's still earning, spending, participating. But he's doing it on his terms, with his eyes open, maintaining his sovereignty. And that makes him dangerous. Not violent. Not destructive. But fundamentally ungovernable. Because once you stop chasing money, once you discover that your power comes from needing less rather than having more, once you realize that freedom is measured in time controlled rather than dollars accumulated, you become someone the system can't predict, can't manipulate, can't control. You become yourself. Fully. Completely. Unapologetically. And there's nothing more threatening to a system built on conformity than a person who's remembered how to be free. The question isn't whether the man who doesn't chase money is society's greatest threat. The question is, are you brave enough to become that threat?